Rain patters steadily on the slate roof above. In these quiet hours, the inn belongs to the last few travelers who linger by the glow while the rest of the world sleeps. Tonight, our path leads us to the ghost ship that sails itself home. Let the road fall behind you. Sink into your pillow as the hearth settles to embers. Let your breath turn slow and quiet in the candle glow. Let every worry drift beyond the inn door. This is the drowsy dragon. Let us begin. The tide pulls back from the shoreline of Oakhaven, revealing slick pebbles and tangled kelp. A gentle mist rolls in from the horizon, carrying the scent of salt and old cedar. This is the hour when the tide and the stars align, creating a bridge between the known and the hidden. High atop the cliffside, the lighthouse of St. Ilara casts a rotating beam of soft amber light. This glow cuts through the grey haze, searching for the first sign of a returning traveller. The stone tower has stood for 700 years, a silent witness to the secrets of the deep. Down in the harbour, the wooden piers groan softly under the movement of the tide. Fishing boats are tied tight with thick hemp ropes, their lanterns flickering like stars caught in glass. The atmosphere is thick with the smell of wet wood and the cooling evening. The harbour master's office is a small, octagonal building, perched at the very edge of the stone pier. Inside, a single candle burns, its flame dancing in the draught that slips through the window cracks. A ledger lies open on the desk, its pages yellowed by time and the salt-laden atmosphere. Outside, the stones of the quay are damp with the spray of the sea. Each step taken here feels resonant, as if the ground itself is listening for the arrival of a legend. The local cats have gathered on the wall, their eyes reflecting the amber sweep of the lighthouse. Far out beyond the breakwater, the mist begins to shimmer with a peculiar pale blue radiance. It is not the harsh light of a storm, but a soft bioluminescent glow that seems to pulse with a slow measure. This is the first herald of the vessel that needs no crew. The Silver Swan is a ship of myth, crafted from star iron and white oak in an age that has passed into song. Every 50 years it returns to this very slip, guided by an internal compass that answers only to the moon. No hand touches the wheel, yet its course is as true as an arrow. As the glow draws nearer, the shape of the prow emerges from the fog like a ghost appearing from a dream. It is carved in the likeness of a great bird, its neck arched in a gesture of eternal grace. The wood of the hull is polished to a mirror finish, reflecting the ripples of the dark water. The sails are not made of canvas, but of a woven silver thread that catches the moonlight and holds it. They do not flap in the wind. Instead, they hum with a low melodic note that vibrates in the chest of anyone standing near. It is the music of 1,000 voyages recorded in every strand. The ship glides past the breakwater without creating a single splash or wake. It moves with a supernatural smoothness, as if sliding across a sheet of black silk. The murmur of the water against the hull is like a whispered greeting between old friends. On the deck, lanterns of wrought iron hang from the rigging, though no sailor lit them. They burn with a steady sapphire flame that requires no oil and produces no smoke. This light reveals a deck that is perfectly swept, as if a ghostly crew had just finished their chores. As the vessel reaches its designated berth, the ropes on the deck stir. They uncoil with the fluid grace of serpents, leaping through the evening to loop themselves around the stone bollards of the quay. They tighten with a precise tension, securing the ship with a series of clicks and snaps. The gangplank lowers itself with a measured creak, the wood meeting the stone of the pier with a gentle thud. It invites the curious and the brave to step aboard and witness the wonders kept within the hold. There is no one to grant permission, yet the invitation feels warm and sincere. Standing at the edge of the pier, one can see the intricate carvings that decorate the railings. They depict constellations that have not been seen in the sky for 3 centuries. Each star is a small inset diamond that sparkles with a faint internal fire. The helm of the ship stands tall on the quarterdeck, carved from a single piece of dark mahogany. It turns slowly to the left, then to the right, as if the ship is stretching its limbs after a long journey. The brass fittings on the wheel are polished to a brilliant golden sheen. A soft chime rings out from the ship's bell, though the clapper remains still. The note is clear and resonant, echoing off the stone walls of the harbour and the quiet houses of the town. It is a signal that the voyage has reached its temporary conclusion. The cabin door, made of reinforced oak and bound in silver, remains closed for now. Behind it lies the captain's quarters, a place where maps of forgotten lands are spread across a table of ebony. The scent of sandalwood and old parchment drifts through the keyhole. The anchor, a massive piece of star iron, lowers itself into the depths of the harbour. It does not crash into the water, but enters the surface with a soft hiss, disappearing into the murk. The ship is now fully at rest, a silent monument to the craft of a bygone era. Looking up at the masts, one can see the silver sails slowly furling themselves. They fold into neat, shimmering bundles against the spars, tucked away until the tide calls them forth once more. The rigging remains taut, a complex web of magic and geometry. As the first lantern on the main deck eases toward a steady, inviting warmth, we prepare to step across the threshold and see what treasures the vessel has brought back from the edge of the map. The ship feels alive, a sentient construct that breathes with the rise and fall of the ocean. Its presence in the harbour brings a sense of peace to the town, a reminder that some things return even when they are lost. The mist begins to thin, revealing the full majesty of the silver swan against the backdrop of the stars. We stand on the quay, watching the sapphire light dance across the wet stones. The journey is only beginning, and the secrets of the ghost ship are waiting to be whispered to those who listen. Every plank and every nail has a story to tell, and the evening is long enough to hear them all. The silence of the harbour is profound, broken only by the rhythmic lapping of the water against the hull. It is a cadence that invites sleep, a slow pulse that matches the heartbeat of the sleeping town. The ship is home, and for now the world is at peace. We move closer to the gangplank, our footsteps light and careful. The wood beneath our feet feels solid and ancient, yet vibrating with a hidden energy. It is as if the ship is humming a lullaby to the harbour, a song of distant shores and calm seas. Inside the ship, the atmosphere is cool and still. The blue light from the lanterns casts long, soft shadows across the deck. Every detail is perfect. From the polished brass to the neatly coiled ropes, a testament to a magic that does not fade with time. As we explore the deck, we find small tokens of the ship's travels. A single tropical flower, preserved in a block of enchanted ice, rests on a pedestal. A handful of golden sand from a desert that no longer exists lies scattered in a corner, glowing with a faint warmth. The Silver Swan is more than a vessel. It is a repository of history. It carries the memories of the winds it has caught and the currents it has followed. To be aboard is to be part of that history, a guest in a floating museum of the extraordinary. We walk toward the bow, looking out over the dark water of the harbour. The town of Oakhaven looks small and fragile from this vantage point, a cluster of stone and thatch against the vastness of the cliffs. The ship provides a sense of sanctuary, a fortress of silver and oak. The prow of the ship seems to point toward a future that is yet to be written. Even in its rest, the Silver Swan feels ready to leap back into the mist at a moment's notice. But for tonight, it is content to be still, to share its quiet presence with the world. The stars above seem to shine brighter in response to the ship's return. They form a canopy of light that mirrors the diamonds inset in the ship's railings. It is a moment of perfect harmony, a convergence of the celestial and the terrestrial. As we prepare to descend into the lower decks, the air grows even calmer. The murmur of the sea is muffled by the thick wood of the hull, creating a space of absolute tranquility. We are moving deeper into the heart of the mystery, guided by the soft sapphire glow. The wooden stairs are wide and shallow, designed for a steady descent. They do not creak under our weight, instead offering a firm and silent support. Each step takes us further away from the noise of the surface and closer to the dreams of the deep. In the galley, the smell of spices remains, though no food has been cooked here for decades. Cinnamon, cloves, and a hint of something sweet and unknown linger in the atmosphere. It is a comforting scent, a reminder of the many lives this ship has touched. The sleeping quarters are empty, the bunks made up with fine linen that feels as soft as a cloud. There is a sense of waiting here, as if the crew is merely hidden in the shadows, watching over their guests with a benevolent eye. The silence is not lonely, but full of a gentle companionship. We find a small lounge area, where velvet chairs are arranged around a low table of carved ivory. A silver carafe sits on the table, filled with a liquid that glows like liquid starlight. It is a place for reflection, for quiet conversation, and for the slow drift into sleep. The ship continues to rock gently, a movement that is almost imperceptible. It is a cradle on the water, lulling everything within its embrace into a state of deep relaxation. The world outside the hull ceases to matter, replaced by the timeless sanctuary of the vessel. We sit for a moment, listening to the heartbeat of the ship. It is a slow, steady pulse that speaks of endurance and grace. The Silver Swan has seen the rise and fall of empires, yet it remains unchanged, a constant in a shifting realm. The lanterns in the lounge begin to dim, their sapphire light softening to a deep indigo. It is a signal that the hour of rest has truly arrived. The shadows lengthen, wrapping the room in a cocoon of safety and warmth. We feel the weight of the day lifting, replaced by a lightness of spirit. The ship has brought us here to find peace, to leave behind the worries of the shore and drift on the currents of imagination. The journey is quiet, and the destination is rest. As we close our eyes, the last thing we see is the faint sparkle of the diamond stars in the woodwork. They are a promise of protection, a guide through the quiet hours of the evening. The Silver Swan is our home for tonight, and it will keep us safe until the dawn. The ship's spirit is a gentle one, a presence that watches over the harbor and all who dwell within it. It is a guardian of the threshold, a bridge between the mundane and the magical. Its return is a blessing, a gift of wonder in a world that often forgets to look up at the stars. Tomorrow the townspeople will wake to find the ship in their harbor, and they will bring offerings of flowers and song. But for now, the ship belongs to the silence and the moon. It is a private moment, a secret shared between the vessel and the harbor. The mist begins to settle over the decks once more, a soft blanket of grey that hides the silver sails from view. The ship becomes a part of the fog, a ghost once again, yet its presence is as solid as the stone of the quay. It is here, and it is at rest. We drift further into the embrace of sleep, the rhythmic lapping of the water becoming a distant murmur. The silver swan carries us into the realm of dreams, where the seas are always calm and the stars never fade. We are safe, we are warm, and we are home. Beyond the small lounge, a corridor of polished mahogany stretches into the heart of the ship, reflecting the dim indigo light of the wall lanterns. Every step is cushioned by a runner of woven sea silk, which dampens the noise of our passage to a mere whisper. The wood itself seems to breathe, a low, resonant hum that vibrates gently through the soles of our feet. It is the voice of the vessel, a song of timber and tide that has played for centuries. We pass a doorway where the aroma of cinnamon and dried orange peel drifts into the hallway. Inside the galley, copper kettles hang from the ceiling, swaying in a slow, measured arc. There is no fire in the hearth, yet a gentle warmth persists, as if the stones remember the heat of 1,000 meals. A bowl of apples sits on the table, their skins glowing with a faint inner radiance that lights the corners of the room. Further down, we find the cartography room, where maps are not drawn on paper but projected into the atmosphere. Tiny points of light dance in the center of the room, forming constellations that guide the ship across the unseen oceans. A brass compass sits on a pedestal, its needle spinning slowly, seeking a north that exists only in the realm of spirit. The atmosphere is cool and still, filled with the scent of old parchment and ozone. In the corner of the room, a large globe of frosted glass rotates without a sound. It depicts lands that are not found on any modern chart, continents of crystal and islands that float in the clouds. As we watch, a faint trail of silver light traces the path the ship has taken to reach this harbor. It is a record of a journey that spans both distance and time, a testament to the ship's tireless purpose. We leave the maps behind and descend a staircase of driftwood, its steps worn smooth by the passage of invisible feet. The railing is cool to the touch, carved with the likeness of leaping dolphins and winding kelp. Below, the air grows damp and salt-tinged, carrying the scent of the deep ocean. The lower decks are a place of quiet mystery, where the heartbeat of the ship feels even stronger. Here the walls are adorned with bioluminescent moss that grows in the cracks of the timber. It casts a soft emerald glow, illuminating the shadows with a dreamlike light. We pass rows of empty hammocks, swaying in unison as if occupied by the ghosts of a long-forgotten crew. The movement is hypnotic, a gentle sway that invites us to let go of our remaining tension. A small door leads into the Library of Tides, a room filled with scrolls that hum with the noise of the sea. Each scroll is encased in a tube of pearlescent glass, protecting the knowledge within from the dampness. We reach out to touch one, and a faint melody, like a distant shell held to the ear, fills the room. It is the history of the currents, the secrets of the moon, and the language of the waves. The shelves are made of coral, their intricate branches reaching out to cradle the glass tubes. There is a desk in the center where an inkwell of silver holds a quill made from the feather of a sea eagle. The ink is a deep, shimmering blue that never seems to dry. It is as if the ship is still writing its own story, adding a new line with every mile it travels. We move deeper into the hold, where the cargo of the Silver Swan is kept. There are crates of rare spices, their scents of cloves and nutmeg, mingling into a rich, intoxicating perfume. Bundles of raw silk, as soft as moonlight, are stacked against the walls, shimmering in the emerald glow. It is a treasury of wonders, gathered from the corners of this place and kept safe within the wooden hull. Among the crates we find a collection of musical instruments, their strings vibrating in sympathy with the ship's movement. A harp made of whalebone stands in the corner, its golden strings glowing with a soft light. As a gentle draught passes through the room, the harp produces a single low note that echoes through the hold. It is a peaceful sound, a vibration that speaks of rest and completion. We find a small nook tucked away between the crates, where a pile of velvet cushions has been placed. It is a perfect spot to sit for a moment and listen to the symphony of the ship. The creak of the hull, the sigh of the wind in the rigging, and the lap of the water against the wood. These are the voices of the Silver Swan, a lullaby that has been sung for generations. The shadows in the hold are long and soft, wrapping us in a protective embrace. We feel the weight of our limbs, the slow rise and fall of our breath as we sink into the cushions. The world outside the ship is a distant memory, replaced by the intimate reality of this wooden sanctuary. We are a part of the ship's journey, a passenger on its eternal voyage home. As we rest, we notice a small window set high in the hull. Through the thick glass, we can see the bioluminescence of the harbor, tiny sparks of light dancing in the water. They look like fallen stars, drifting in the dark, guided by the same forces that brought us here. It is a beautiful sight, a reminder of the magic that exists in the quiet moments after dark. The ship gives a sudden, gentle lurch, as if it is adjusting its position in the tide. The movement is not jarring, but feels like the shifting of a great beast in its sleep. We are safe in its belly, protected from the elements by layers of enchanted timber. The Silver Swan is more than a vessel. It is a guardian, a silent sentinel that watches over those who find refuge within it. We rise from our rest and continue our exploration, drawn toward the stern of the ship. We find a narrow passage that leads to the rudder room, where the great wooden wheel turns on its own. It is a massive thing, bound in bands of silver and etched with runes of protection. The wheel moves with a deliberate grace, responding to the invisible currents of the harbor. The gears that turn the rudder are made of a translucent material that looks like polished ice. They move without friction, producing a faint, crystalline chime with every revolution. It is a masterpiece of craftsmanship, a fusion of art and magic, that allows the ship to navigate without a hand at the helm. The room is filled with a sense of purpose, a focus that is both calm and unwavering. From the rudder room, we step out onto a small balcony that overlooks the wake of the ship. The mist has thickened, turning the harbor into a sea of white, where the lights of the town are but faint smudges of gold. The water behind the ship is a trail of silver, where the moonlight reflects off the disturbed surface. It is a path of light, leading back into the mystery of the evening. The air on the balcony is cool and crisp, carrying the scent of pine from the nearby hills. We take a deep breath, feeling the freshness fill our lungs and the clarity it brings to our minds. The silence of the harbor is profound, broken only by the distant call of a night bird. It is a moment of pure stillness, a pause in the flow of time, where everything is exactly as it should be. We return to the interior of the ship, our hearts light and our spirits at peace. The corridors seem even softer now, the indigo light fading to a gentle violet. The ship is preparing for the deepest hours of the evening, when the magic is at its strongest. We find ourselves drawn back toward the upper decks, where the starlight is most visible. The journey through the Silver Swan has been a voyage of discovery, a chance to see the world through the eyes of a legend. We have walked its halls, listened to its songs, and felt the pulse of its magic. Now, as the hour grows late, we find ourselves approaching the final sanctuary of the ship, a place where the journey and the destination become one. The door to the captain's study swings open, without a murmur, as if it has been waiting for our arrival. Inside, the light is soft, filtered through windows made of thin, translucent sheets of sea glass. The room is filled with the scent of old parchment and a hint of dried lavender that hangs in the stillness. A large desk of dark, polished mahogany sits in the center, its top covered with maps that seem to shimmer in the half-light. We step closer and see that the ink on the maps is moving, shifting slowly to reflect the changing tides. Tiny golden ships glide across the parchment, tracing the paths of the currents with effortless grace. It is a living record of the sea, a testament to the magic that guides the Silver Swan. The atmosphere in the room is one of quiet contemplation, a place where time seems to slow down. A quill, tipped with a feather of pure white, rests in a silver inkwell, occasionally twitching as if it is recording the whispers of the wind. There are books lined up on the shelves, their leather bindings worn by the touch of many hands over many years. Each volume contains stories of the sea, of hidden islands, and of the creatures that dwell in the deep. We feel a sense of reverence in this place of knowledge and memory. In the corner of the room, a small brass orrery spins, its metal planets moving in a slow, deliberate cadence. The spheres are made of semi-precious stones, each one glowing with a faint internal light. They represent the celestial bodies that guide the ship through the trackless reaches of the ocean. The faint, metallic chime of the orrery is the only noise in the quiet of the study. We leave the captain's sanctuary and continue our climb toward the very top of the ship. The staircase becomes narrower, the wood beneath our feet feeling more like stone than timber. We reach a circular room with a ceiling made entirely of glass, revealing the brilliance of the stars above. This is the Celestial Observatory, the place where the ship communes with the heavens The glass dome is etched with the outlines of constellations, each star represented by a small, faceted diamond. When the light of the moon hits the glass, the room is filled with 1,000 tiny rainbows dancing on the walls. It is a breathtaking sight, a celebration of the beauty of the cosmos. We find a comfortable seat on a pile of velvet cushions and look up at the majesty of the sky. The stars seem closer here, their light more intense, as if we are floating among them. We can see the great dragon, the silver fox, and the weaver, all shining with a steady, unwavering glow. The ship seems to respond to their presence, a low, melodic hum vibrating through the floor. It is a song of connection, a reminder that we are part of a much larger tapestry. In the center of the observatory there is a large brass telescope, its lenses made of polished quartz. We peer through the eyepiece and see the moon in all its glory, its craters and plains visible in exquisite detail. The moonlight is so bright, it feels like we could reach out and touch it. The stillness of the observatory is profound, a moment of pure peace and wonder. We spend a long time in the observatory, lost in the beauty of the stars and the quiet of the ship. The movement of the vessel is barely perceptible, a gentle swaying that is as soothing as a lullaby. We feel our eyelids growing heavy, the calm of the evening washing over us like a tide. But there is more to see, more of the ship's magic to discover. We descend from the observatory and move toward the stern, where a pair of large wooden doors leads to the hanging gardens. As we open the doors, we are greeted by a burst of fragrance, the scent of jasmine, roses, and damp earth. The gardens are a lush green oasis in the middle of the silver sea. Vines climb the walls, their leaves glowing with a soft bioluminescent light. There are flowers here that only bloom after dark, their petals opening to reveal centers of pure gold. They sway gently in the breeze, as if dancing to a melody that only they can hear. A small stone fountain sits in the middle of the garden, its water flowing in a constant, soothing trickle. The water is clear and cool, reflecting the light of the glowing plants. We walk along the moss-covered paths, feeling the softness of the ground beneath our feet. The garden is a place of life and growth, a contrast to the stillness of the ship's interior. We see small winged creatures like tiny sparks of light flitting among the flowers. They are the garden's keepers, the spirits that tend to the plants and ensure their health. The air in the garden is humid and warm, filled with the vitality of the living things that dwell here. We find a stone bench covered in soft lichen, and sit for a moment listening to the music of the fountain. The garden is a sanctuary within a sanctuary, a place where we can feel the pulse of the natural realm. It is a reminder that even in the middle of the ocean, life finds a way to flourish. From the garden we can see the wake of the ship, a long silver trail that stretches out toward the horizon. The mist has begun to lift, revealing the broad expanse of the harbor and the lights of the town in the distance. The town looks like a cluster of fallen stars, its buildings and streets illuminated by the glow of 1,000 lanterns. It is a beautiful sight, a testament to the creativity and ingenuity of the people who live there. We return to the interior of the ship, our hearts full of the beauty we have seen. The corridors are even quieter now, the light fading to a soft charcoal grey. The ship is moving into the deepest hours of the evening, the time when the magic is at its most potent. We feel a sense of anticipation, a curiosity about what else the Silver Swan has to show us. We find ourselves drawn toward the center of the ship, where a large circular chamber houses the vessel's heart. The heart is a massive glowing crystal, held in place by bands of silver and gold. It pulses with a steady amber light, the source of the ship's power and its will. The warmth radiating from the crystal is palpable, a gentle heat that fills the chamber. Around the crystal, a series of translucent gears and cogs turn in a silent, effortless dance. They are made of a material that looks like frozen moonlight, their surfaces etched with intricate runes. Each gear represents a different aspect of the ship's function, from the movement of the sails to the navigation of the currents. It is a masterpiece of magical engineering, a fusion of art and science. We stand in the presence of the heart, feeling its power and its peace. The crystal seems to respond to our presence, its light brightening for a moment, as if in greeting. We feel a sense of connection to the ship, a realization that we are part of its journey. The heart is the core of the Silver Swan, the place where its soul resides. The chamber is filled with a low, resonant sound, like the vibration of a great bell. It is a comforting noise, a reminder that the ship is alive and watching over us. We feel a sense of security, a knowledge that we are safe in the heart of the vessel. The warmth of the crystal is like a blanket, wrapping us in its embrace. As the hour grows even later, we feel the pull of sleep, a gentle tugging at our consciousness. The journey through the ship has been a long one, filled with wonder and discovery. We move toward the lower stairs, where the promise of a deeper rest awaits, in the heart of the ship's quietest chambers. Our descent into the lower decks is marked by a shift in the very timber of the vessel. The wood becomes denser, a rich, dark grain that feels as though it has absorbed the wisdom of 1,000 voyages. Each step down the spiral staircase is a step away from the surface, a journey into the quietest reaches of the Silver Swan. The atmosphere here is cool and still, held in a delicate balance by the ship's own internal magic. A soft violet hue emanates from the walls, revealing the intricate patterns of the grain. It is a sanctuary within a sanctuary, where the external world feels like a distant memory. We reach the bottom of the stairs and find ourselves in a long, curving corridor. The floor is covered in a runner of thick woven wool, dyed a deep indigo that looks like the sea at twilight. Our footsteps make no noise, as if the ship itself is encouraging us to move with a gentle, hushed grace. Small spheres of blue magelight float at regular intervals along the ceiling, bobbing slowly in an invisible current. They cast a tranquil radiance that reflects off the polished mahogany panels. There is a faint scent of old parchment and dried lavender, a fragrance that speaks of history and careful preservation. To our left, a wide doorway leads into the map room, a place of quiet contemplation and celestial navigation. In the center of the chamber, a massive table carved from a single block of translucent crystal stands ready. It glows with a steady, amber light, illuminating the room with a warm, inviting brilliance. Hovering just above the crystal surface, a holographic representation of the stars and the seas unfolds. The charts are alive, shifting and updating as the ship moves through the water. We can see the currents as ribbons of silver and the constellations as points of diamond light, all working together to guide us home. The walls of the map room are lined with shelves containing thousands of scrolls and leather-bound atlases. Each one is a record of a different journey, a story of exploration and discovery. The room feels weighted with the knowledge of generations, a testament to the enduring spirit of the Silver Swan. We move further into the ship, passing the archive of tides, where the movements of the oceans are recorded. The shelves here are filled with glowing jars of sea foam and bottled whispers of the wind. It is a place of magic and science, where the natural forces are honored and understood. Silver ladders lean against the shelves, allowing access to the highest reaches of the archive. The light in this room is a soft, watery green, as if we are looking through the surface of a calm lagoon. The stillness is profound, a deep silence that invites us to linger and reflect. Next, we come to the storage hold, which is far more elegant than one might expect. Huge casks of cedar are stacked neatly, filled with fine wines and rare oils from distant lands. The scent here is rich and earthy, a mixture of wood, spice, and the salt of the sea. Jars of glowing spices sit on the shelves, their colors ranging from deep crimson to bright gold. They hum with a faint musical note, a reminder of the exotic ports the ship has visited. Everything is organized with meticulous care, a reflection of the pride the Silver Swan takes in its cargo. The galley is our next stop, a warm and inviting space that smells of baked bread and dried fruit. Copper pots and pans hang from the rafters, gleaming in the low light of a small amber stove. Though no crew is visible, the room feels lived in and comfortable, a heart of domestic peace. A small wooden table sits in the corner with a bowl of fresh apples and a pitcher of cool water. The atmosphere is one of simple abundance, a place where the needs of the body and the soul are met. We feel a sense of belonging here, a feeling of being welcomed and cared for. We continue to the loom of tides, a remarkable chamber where the ship's path is literally woven into being. A massive frame of silver and gold stands in the center, with threads of light stretching across it. The threads move on their own, weaving a complex and beautiful tapestry that represents our journey. The cadence of the loom is a soft, rhythmic clicking, a sound that is both soothing and mesmerizing. Each thread is a different color, representing the various elements of the sea and the sky. It is a masterpiece of magical craft, a fusion of art and the will of the vessel. Beyond the loom, we find a glass floor that looks down into the very keel of the ship. Below us, the water glows with a soft bioluminescence, revealing the shapes of fish and other sea creatures. They swim alongside the ship, their movements a graceful dance in the dark waters. It is a window into another realm, a reminder of the vastness and beauty of the ocean. The light from below casts moving patterns on the ceiling, a shimmering display of blue and green. We stand on the glass, feeling as though we are floating on the surface of a dream. We pass the crew's rest area, where silken hammocks are strung between sturdy beams. The room is quiet and dim, with only the faint glow of a few wall lanterns. Though the bunks are empty, they look soft and inviting, a place for a deep and restorative sleep. A small shrine to the sea deities sits in an alcove with statues of pearl and silver. Tiny white candles flicker in the stillness, their flames steady and bright. It is a place of gratitude and reverence, a quiet corner for prayer and reflection. The herb pantry is next, a small room filled with the scent of drying flowers and medicinal plants. Bundles of sage, rosemary, and chamomile hang from the ceiling, their leaves rustling in the faint breeze. The atmosphere is one of healing and peace, a sanctuary for the senses. We move into the linen room, where stacks of white fabric are folded neatly on the shelves. The scent of lavender and salt fills the air, a clean and refreshing fragrance. The linens are soft to the touch, made from the finest cotton and silk, ready to provide comfort and warmth. The artisan's workshop is a place of creativity and craft, with tools made of pearl and silver. Half-finished carvings and delicate jewelry sit on the workbenches, glowing with a faint internal light. It is a room where the beauty of the world is captured and transformed into art. Wood shavings cover the floor, smelling of cedar and pine. The atmosphere is one of focused quiet, a place where the hands and the mind can find expression. We feel a sense of inspiration here, a desire to create and to share our own stories. We reach the anchor chain room, where a massive chain of rune-etched silver disappears into the floor. The chain is silent and still, its power held in reserve for the time when the ship finally reaches its home. The runes glow with a soft, steady light, a symbol of protection and strength. The scriptorium is our next destination, a room filled with floating quills and sheets of parchment. The ship's logs are written here, a continuous record of every moment of the journey. The quills move with a gentle scratching noise, their ink made of starlight and seawater. The walls are covered in maps and diagrams, each one a piece of the puzzle that is the Silver Swan. The atmosphere is one of quiet study and intellectual pursuit, a place where the mind can wander and explore. We feel a sense of wonder at the complexity and the beauty of the ship's design. The corridor of mirrors is a place of reflection and self-discovery. Silver frames hold mirrors that reflect not just our physical form, but the stars and the sea as well. It is a place where the boundaries between the internal and the external worlds begin to blur. The reflections are soft and dreamlike, a reminder of the fluidity of time and space. We move through the hall, feeling a sense of peace and clarity. The mirrors seem to hold the memory of everyone who has ever walked these halls, a connection to the past and the future. We arrive at the door to the guest suite, an intricately carved piece of oak that speaks of comfort and luxury. The wood is warm to the touch, and the handle is made of polished brass. We feel a sense of anticipation, a knowledge that a deep and restful sleep awaits us inside. A small collection of iridescent shells sits on a velvet-covered table next to the door. They are treasures from many shores, each one a unique and beautiful creation of the sea. They glow with a soft, pearlescent light, a final greeting before we enter our sanctuary. Near the door, the captain's study is visible, a room filled with the scent of old books and fine tobacco. A large desk sits under a skylight, with the stars of the late hours shining down from above. The room is quiet and contemplative, a place of leadership and vision. We pause before the final door, sensing that the most profound rest of all lies just beyond the threshold. The Silver Swan has guided us through the wonders of the night, and now it offers us the ultimate gift of peace. We take a deep breath, ready to leave the world behind and embrace the quiet of the ship's heart. The door yields with a whisper of oiled hinges, opening into a sanctuary of unparalleled grace. Inside, the atmosphere is saturated with the scent of dried jasmine and the faint, clean tang of the salt spray. The floor is covered in rugs woven from the wool of mountain sheep, their piles so deep that every step feels like treading upon a cloud. A soft amber glow emanates from lanterns suspended by silver chains, their light flickering in time with the ship's gentle motion. In the center of the room, a hearth of polished obsidian holds a flame that requires no wood. It is a fire of pure essence, flickering in shades of sapphire and pale gold, casting long, dancing shadows across the paneled walls. The warmth it provides is not a scorching heat, but a pervasive, comforting presence that reaches deep into the bones. We find ourselves drawn to its steady pulse, a beacon of domestic peace in the heart of the great vessel. To our left, a massive bed of carved sandalwood stands, draped in layers of gossamer silk. The fabrics are dyed in the colors of a twilight sky, deep indigos, soft violets, and the shimmering gray of a dove's wing. The pillows are piled high, each one stuffed with the down of northern swans, promising a rest that is both profound and restorative. The headboard is a masterpiece of woodworking, depicting a forest of silver trees whose leaves seem to rustle when the light catches them. A large, circular porthole dominates the far wall, its glass thick and slightly green, like a polished emerald. Through it, we see the ocean stretching out toward the horizon, a mirror for the celestial display above. The stars are bright and clear, their reflections dancing on the crests of the waves as the silver swan glides through the water. There is no turbulence here, only the smooth, unwavering progress of a ship that knows its way home. On a small table of inlaid mother-of-pearl, a carafe of crystal holds water that glows with a faint internal luminescence. Beside it sits a single glass, its rim etched with patterns of frost and foam. The water is cool and sweet, tasting of mountain springs and the first rain of spring. As we take a sip, a sense of tranquility washes over us, easing the last remnants of tension from our shoulders. The wardrobe is a tall, stately piece of furniture, its doors adorned with mirrors that capture the shifting light of the hearth. Inside, we find robes of the finest linen, soft as a second skin and smelling of cedar wood. There are slippers lined with rabbit fur, waiting to warm our feet after the journey through the ship's corridors. Everything has been prepared with a meticulous attention to detail, a silent testament to the ship's hospitality. A small writing desk sits in a quiet corner, its surface cluttered with the tools of a scholar. There are vials of ink made from crushed pearls and quills taken from the wings of sea eagles. A stack of blank parchment waits for the thoughts that come only in the stillness of the late hours. The chair is upholstered in velvet the color of moss, inviting us to sit and reflect on the wonders we have witnessed. Beyond the desk, a door leads to a private balcony, a small wooden platform that hangs over the ship's stern. The atmosphere here is cooler, filled with the mist of the wake and the low murmur of the sea. We stand at the railing, watching the trail of white foam disappear into the dimness behind us. The water is alive with bioluminescence, glowing with the green and blue light of 1,000 tiny organisms. The ship's wake is a ribbon of liquid light, a path through the ocean that marks our steady journey. We feel the power of the vessel beneath our feet, the way it interacts with the elements in a dance of grace and strength. The wind is a gentle caress against our skin, carrying the whispers of distant lands and the songs of the deep. It is a moment of profound connection, a realization that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. Returning to the warmth of the suite, we find the hearth fire has dimmed to a soft, pulsing ember. The light in the room is now a gentle twilight, perfect for the transition into sleep. We move toward the washstand, where a silver basin holds water that has been warmed by the ship's internal magic. The steam rises in thin, curling ribbons, carrying the scent of sandalwood and lavender. We wash our hands and face, the water feeling like a benediction against our skin. The towels are thick and soft, drying us with a gentle touch. Every movement is slow and deliberate, a meditation on the simple acts of self-care. The ship seems to quieten in response to our own stillness, the creaks of the timber becoming a lullaby. The bookshelves that line the walls are filled with volumes of poetry and lore, their spines embossed with gold leaf. We run our fingers over the leather bindings, feeling the texture of the stories held within. These are books of the sea, of the stars, and of the hidden places where magic still dwells. We choose a small volume at random, its pages yellowed with age and smelling of old wisdom. Sitting in the moss-colored chair, we read a few lines by the light of a single candle. The words are simple and beautiful, speaking of the enduring nature of hope and the peace that comes with the end of a long journey. The cadence of the poetry matches the pulse of the ship, creating a harmony that lulls the mind into a state of grace. Our eyes grow weighted, the letters on the page beginning to blur and dance. We set the book aside and move toward the bed, the silk sheets cool and inviting. As we slide beneath the covers, the weight of the blankets feels like a protective embrace. The pillows cradle our head, their softness a welcome relief after the day's explorations. We lie still, listening to the symphony of the ship as it continues its tireless voyage. The ceiling above is painted with a map of the heavens, the constellations picked out in silver paint that glows in the half-light. We trace the patterns with our eyes, finding the familiar shapes of the Great Bear and the Hunter. The stars seem to move as we watch them, a slow and deliberate rotation that reflects the turning of the realm. It is a sight of immense beauty, a reminder of the order and the wonder of the cosmos. The shadows in the room are long and soft, softening the edges of the furniture and the walls. The only noise is the low hiss of the sea against the hull and the occasional creak of a cooling timber. It is a landscape of peace, a sanctuary where the worries of the place cannot reach us. We feel ourselves drifting, the boundaries of our consciousness expanding to include the entire ship and the sea beyond. The Silver Swan is a vessel of dreams, a ghost ship that carries the hopes of the lost and the weary. It sails not toward a destination of stone and mortar, but toward a home of the spirit. We are its guests, its companions on this journey through the quiet hours. The magic that powers it is a magic of intention and memory, a force that is as steady as the tides. As we close our eyes, the image of the starlit sea persists behind our eyelids. We see the bioluminescent wake, the glowing runes on the anchor chain, and the silver trees of the headboard. These images weave together into a tapestry of rest, a dreamscape that is both familiar and new. The ship's motion is a cradle, rocking us into a sleep that is deep and unbroken. The stillness in the suite is now total, a silence that is not empty, but full of the presence of the night. The candle has burned down to a small, flickering flame, casting its final light against the silver-etched glass. We breathe in the scent of jasmine one last time, letting it anchor us to the present moment. The journey continues, but for now, our part in it is to rest and to dream. The silver swan glides onward, its sails white against the blackness of the ocean. It moves with a purpose that transcends the need for a crew, guided by the stars and the currents of the deep. We are safe within its heart, protected by the enchantments of the time-worn ones and the strength of the silver wood. The morning is a distant promise, a light that will eventually find us, but the evening is our current home. We surrender to the pull of sleep, letting the cadence of the ship become our own. The pulse of the magic, the hiss of the spray, and the warmth of the hearth all fade into a single unified sense of peace. We are drifting now, moving into the deeper waters of the subconscious, where the ship of dreams awaits to take us on the next stage of our journey. The stars watch over us as we descend into the quiet depths of a perfect, timeless rest. We move, in our thoughts, deeper into the architecture of the Silver Swan. The stairs that lead below are carved from the same moon-pale timber, their banisters smooth as polished bone under our touch. Each step is a descent into a more profound quiet, away from the spray and the wind. The lower decks are a labyrinth of soft curves and hidden alcoves, designed for those who seek the deepest of rests. There is no clatter of boots here, only the padded silence of thick, woven rugs. The atmosphere here is cool, carrying the scent of dried lavender and the sharp, clean tang of sea salt. We pass a row of doors, their handles made of sea glass that glows with a faint internal warmth. Each room is a sanctuary, a private world where the passage of the hours is marked only by the shifting of the shadows. The light from the hallway filters in, a soft blue that paints the floors in shades of sapphire. In the center of the ship, a great pillar of glass rises from the keel to the deck above. It is filled with a swirling, luminous mist, a liquid magic that powers the vessel's steady forward motion. The mist shifts and turns, creating patterns that resemble the clouds of a distant nebula. It is the heart of the ship, the engine of its intent, pulsing with a life that is both mechanical and spiritual. We stand by the glass for a moment, feeling the gentle vibration of the energy against our palms. It is a comforting presence, a reminder that we are being carried by a force of great wisdom. We find ourselves in the galley, a space of polished copper and dark oiled wood. The stove is cold, yet a teapot sits upon it, steam rising in a thin, elegant curl that never seems to dissipate. The shelves are lined with canisters of exotic teas and jars of honey that shimmer like liquid gold. There is a sense of preparation here, a quiet readiness for guests who may never arrive or who are already present in spirit. The long tables are set with fine porcelain, the patterns of blue and white depicting scenes of a coast that exists only in memory. We can almost hear the phantom clink of spoons and the murmur of conversation. Moving further aft, we enter the library of the deep, where the walls are lined with scrolls and leather-bound volumes. These are the records of every voyage the Swan has ever made, written in a script that glows when the light hits it just right. There are maps spread across the central table, held down by weights shaped like dolphins. They show no land masses we recognize, mapping instead the currents of the aether and the paths of the wandering stars. A compass sits in a brass gimbals, its needles spinning slowly in a circle, never pointing north, but always toward the ship's true home. It is a steady, hypnotic motion, a visual echo of the vessel's unwavering purpose. The windows in this room are thick and circular, looking out into the dark waters of the trench. Occasionally, a school of bioluminescent fish drifts past, their bodies trailing ribbons of neon green and electric blue. They are the only witnesses to our passage, silent companions in the midnight of the ocean. Their light reflects off the glass, casting dancing flickers across the spines of the books and the polished wood of the floor. We find a small, upholstered chair tucked into a corner, its fabric soft and worn by the presence of many previous dreamers. It is the perfect place to sit and watch the underwater world glide by. The creak of the ship's hull is more pronounced here, a low, resonant groan that speaks of strength and endurance. It is the voice of the wood, a song of the forest that once was, now transformed into a song of the sea. We feel the vibration of the magic in the floorboards, a subtle hum that vibrates through the soles of our feet. It is a grounding sensation, a reminder that we are held, supported by the craftsmanship of 100 master builders. The corridor narrows as we approach the very stern of the ship, where the rudder mechanism lives. Here, the gears are made of silver and gold, turning in a bath of scented oil. There is no friction in this machine, only a fluid, perfect grace as it adjusts the ship's course. It responds to the whispers of the wind and the pull of the moon, a delicate balance of forces that we can only marvel at. We stand at the threshold of the final chamber, a place where the distinction between the ship and the sea begins to blur. The walls are translucent here, allowing the faint, ambient light of the ocean to permeate the space with a soft, watery glow. It is a room of transition, a place where the physical world gives way to the realm of pure thought and feeling. We are nearing the end of this particular corridor, but the journey through the heart of the Swan is far from over. The silence here is weighted, a density of peace that feels almost tangible against our skin. We breathe it in, letting it fill our lungs and calm our minds, preparing us for the deeper mysteries that lie ahead. The light from the central pillar reaches even here, a soft, pulsing radiance that guides our way through the dimness. We follow it, moving with the same effortless grace as the ship itself, drifting toward the next stage of our rest. The Silver Swan carries us forward, its hull a shield against the pressures of the deep, its magic a lantern in the gloom. We are safe, we are warm, and we are exactly where we need to be as the evening deepens. As we step through the final archway, the scent of the sea grows stronger, mixed with the sweet, ethereal perfume of the spirit wood. The path ahead is clear, illuminated by the steady glow of our own quiet anticipation. We are ready to see what lies in the most hidden reaches of this vessel. These are the places where even the ghosts go to dream, where the memories of the ocean are kept in jars of silver filigree. The journey continues, a slow and beautiful progression toward the very center of the night. We feel the ship rise slightly on a swell, a gentle reminder of the great expanse that surrounds us. The wood beneath our feet feels alive, a sleeping giant that breathes in time with the tides. We are a part of this living machine, a witness to its silent, self-guided pilgrimage back to the shores of the beginning. Every creak and every flicker of light is a lullaby, beckoning us to let go of the waking world. We find a small bench near the rudder, carved with the likeness of a sleeping swan. Its wings wrap around the seat, providing a sense of enclosure and protection that is deeply comforting. We sit for a moment, letting the motion of the ship become our own internal pulse. The stars are visible through a skylight above, their light filtered through the thick, enchanted glass. They seem closer here, as if the ship is sailing not just through the water, but through the very fabric of the heavens. We are travelers between worlds, guided by the wisdom of the time-worn ones. The air is still, yet it feels vibrant with the echoes of ancient songs and forgotten prayers. We listen to the silence, finding within it a richness that no words can truly capture. It is the silence of the deep, the silence of the heart, the silence of a home that is always waiting. We close our eyes, letting the images of the ship's interior fade into a soft golden blur. The silver swan glides onward, its sails white against the blackness of the ocean. It moves with a purpose that transcends the need for a crew, guided by the stars and the currents of the deep. We are safe within its heart, protected by the enchantments of the storied ones and the strength of the silver wood. The morning is a distant promise, a light that will eventually find us, but the evening is our current home. We surrender to the pull of sleep, letting the cadence of the ship become our own. The pulse of the magic, the hiss of the spray, and the warmth of the hearth all fade into a single unified sense of peace. We are drifting now, moving into the deeper waters of the subconscious, where the ship of dreams awaits. The stars watch over us as we descend into the quiet depths of a perfect, timeless rest. We leave the swan-carved bench behind, our footsteps muffled by the thick rugs of woven kelp that line the floor. The corridor ahead curves like the rib of some great leviathan, bathed in the soft pulse of violet mage-light. Every few paces, a small alcove holds a flickering candle that never seems to shorten, its flame a steady point of amber in the dimness. The central mast rises through the center of the ship like a pillar of living pearl. It is etched with silver sigils that glow with a faint, steady luminescence, humming a low note that vibrates in the soles of our feet. This is the spine of the vessel, the conduit through which the ocean's breath is transformed into motion. We find ourselves in a small, circular chamber where the Heartstone resides, suspended within a delicate cage of forged starlight. It rotates slowly, casting long, dancing shadows across the walls of polished mahogany. The warmth emanating from the stone is like the heat of a summer afternoon, wrapping around us in a comforting embrace. Tiny sparks of blue fire dance across the face of the stone, jumping from one facet to another with a soft, crackling noise. We watch them for a long time, their movement as mesmerizing as the sway of the waves outside. This is the source of the ship's life, the engine of its silent, tireless journey. We move deeper into the belly of the Silver Swan, where the grain of the wood begins to shimmer with its own internal light. The walls here are translucent in places, revealing the intricate network of silver veins that carry the ship's magic. It is like standing inside a living creature, one that is both mechanical and divine. A doorway of arched driftwood leads us into the map room, a place of quiet contemplation and endless horizons. The walls are covered from floor to ceiling with scrolls of vellum, each one detailing a different corner of this broad, uncharted realm. In the center of the room, a large table holds a map that is made of shifting sand. The sand moves on its own, forming peaks and valleys that represent the islands and trenches of the sea. Small glowing orbs of light drift across the surface, marking the current position of the ship and its fellow travelers. We watch as the sand shifts to reflect a passing storm, the grains swirling in a miniature tempest. The atmosphere here is thick with the scent of old parchment and dried sea salt, a fragrance that speaks of 1,000 journeys. We run our fingers over the edge of the table, feeling the cool, smooth texture of the enchanted wood. There is no dust here, only the pristine stillness of a place that is perfectly maintained by unseen hands. We find a small stool in the corner and sit for a moment, letting the quiet of the room wash over us. The only noise is the gentle hiss of the sand as it rearranges itself, a peaceful cadence that mimics the sound of the tide. We feel the ship lean into a long, slow turn, its movement so graceful it is almost imperceptible. The galley is our next destination, a warm and inviting space that smells of cinnamon and cedar. Copper kettles hang from the rafters, their surfaces reflecting the golden glow of the hearth. Though no fire burns in the grate, the stones remain hot, radiating a steady, comforting heat that fills the room. Bundles of dried herbs hang from the ceiling, their leaves rustling softly in the draught created by our passage. We recognize the scent of lavender and mint mixed with the earthy aroma of mountain sage. It is a kitchen of memories where the ghosts of former meals still linger in the fragrant atmosphere. We find a wooden mug on the counter, carved with the same swan motif we saw earlier. It feels weighted and solid in our hand, a tangible connection to the physical world. We imagine the many hands that have held this vessel, the stories shared over steaming cups of tea while the ship sailed through the night. A large window at the back of the galley looks out over the stern, offering a view of the ship's wake. The water is a deep, dark indigo, streaked with the brilliant white of the churning foam. Beneath the surface, we can see the glow of bioluminescent creatures, their lights like stars reflected in the deep. The wake stretches out behind us like a silver path, leading back to the lands we have left behind. It is a reminder that every journey has a beginning, even if the destination is still hidden in the mist. We watch as the path slowly fades into the expanse of the ocean, swallowed by the relentless motion of the tides. We descend a short flight of stairs to the lower berths, where the air is cooler and the shadows are longer. The bunks are lined with sheets of pale silk, draped with blankets of soft grey wool. Each berth is a private sanctuary, a small cocoon of safety in the middle of the immense sea. The walls here are hung with tapestries that depict the history of the ship and its makers. We see images of great forests where the silver wood was harvested, and of the celestial forges where the heartstone was shaped. The stories are told in threads of gold and silver, their colors still vibrant after all these years. We find a shrine at the end of the corridor dedicated to the spirits of the wind and the water. It is a simple altar of white stone, covered with offerings of sea glass and polished river stones. A single blue candle burns in the center, its flame steady and unwavering despite the movement of the ship. We add a small piece of amber to the collection, a gift of gratitude for the safe passage we have been granted. The act of giving feels meaningful, a way of acknowledging the magic that sustains us. We stand for a moment in silent prayer, letting the peace of the shrine fill our hearts. The ship feels different now, more intimate and personal, as if it has accepted us into its inner circle. We are no longer just passengers, but a part of the vessel itself, moving in harmony with its every pulse. The boundaries between our own thoughts and the ship's magic begin to blur, creating a sense of total unity. We return to the upper decks. Our journey through the hidden reaches nearly complete. The night is at its deepest point, the stars shining with a brilliance that is almost overwhelming. We feel a profound sense of readiness, a willingness to let go of the last vestiges of the waking world and embrace the dreams that await us in the final stretch of our voyage. The stars above the masthead seem to pulse with a slow, living light, guiding our path toward the final harbor. We stand at the railing, feeling the gentle vibration of the silver timbers as the vessel nears its destination. The salt spray has turned to a fine, shimmering dew, clinging to the wood like liquid diamonds. Far ahead, a soft amber glow breaks the line, where the ocean meets the sky. It is the lighthouse of the home port, its beacon rotating with a measured, patient grace. This is the end of the long journey, the place where the tides finally come to rest. The wheel turns without a hand to guide it, its spokes gleaming under the celestial canopy. There is a sense of profound purpose in its movement, a certainty that transcends the need for a physical pilot. We are simply witnesses to this final, graceful act of homecoming. A thin veil of mist rises from the water, swirling around the hull in delicate, translucent ribbons. The atmosphere grows even more still, as if the ocean itself is holding its breath in anticipation. We glide through the fog, the ship moving with a quiet confidence through the shifting grey. Now the silhouette of the harbour towers emerges from the gloom, their peaks crowned with glowing azure crystals. These stones hum with a low, resonant note, a song of welcome that vibrates in our very marrow. The light they cast is cool and inviting, painting the stone walls in shades of sapphire and pearl. The great sails, which have caught the winds of 1,000 leagues, now begin to fold themselves with a sound like a soft sigh. They tuck against the masts like the wings of a nesting bird, their work done for this evening. The ship slows, its momentum easing into a graceful drift toward the stone quays. On the deck, the ropes move of their own accord, coiling themselves into neat, orderly circles. The invisible hands that have tended this ship for centuries are finishing their final tasks. There is a profound sense of order here, a discipline born of timeless magic and enduring loyalty. We pass between the two great statues that guard the entrance to the bay, their stone faces weathered by the salt and the years. They stand as silent sentinels, their eyes fixed on the horizon, watching over all who return from the deep. The water within the harbour is as smooth as a mirror, reflecting the stars in perfect clarity. The lights of the town are small and warm, flickering behind windows of thick, leaded glass. We see the faint trails of smoke rising from chimneys, carrying the scent of cedar wood and dried herbs. It is a vista of peace and domesticity, a contrast to the wild, open reaches of the sea. With a gentle bump that is barely felt, the hull comes to rest against the padded timbers of the pier. The gangplank lowers itself with a rhythmic creak, extending an invitation to step once more onto solid ground. The journey across the water is over, and the shore is waiting to receive us. We step onto the stone walkway, our legs feeling the strange stability of the earth after so long at sea. The stones are cool beneath our feet, worn smooth by the passage of countless travelers. We look back at the ship, its silver wood glowing with a soft internal radiance in the dimness. The lighthouse beam sweeps over the deck one last time, illuminating the empty helm and the folded sails. The vessel looks content, a living thing that has completed its duty and is now ready for its own period of repose. It will wait here, bobbing gently in the tide, until the stars call it forth once more. We walk away from the water, our steps slow and deliberate on the cobbled path. The evening is deep and quiet, the only noise being the distant murmur of the waves against the sea wall. Every shadow feels like a soft blanket, every lantern like a friendly eye watching over our passage. A small cottage stands at the end of the lane, its door painted a deep shade of forest green. A single lamp burns in the window, casting a golden pool of light onto the doorstep. This is a place of sanctuary, a destination that has been waiting for us since the moment we first set sail. Inside, the warmth of the hearth greets us like a familiar embrace, the air thick with the scent of lavender and old parchment. The fire has burned down to a bed of glowing coals, pulsing with a deep ruby light. It is a space designed for reflection, for the slow winding down of the spirit. We find a high-backed chair near the window, cushioned with velvet the color of a midnight sky. As we sit, we can still see the masts of the ghost ship rising above the rooftops of the town. It is a lingering connection to the magic of the ocean, a reminder of the wonders we have witnessed. The ship is slowly fading into the thickening mist, its silver outlines becoming blurred and ethereal. It is returning to the realm of dreams, its physical form dissolving as the magic that sustained it begins to ebb. Soon only the memory of its presence will remain, a story told in the quiet hours of the morning. The last embers in the fireplace pop and hiss, sending a tiny shower of sparks up the chimney. The light in the room grows dim, the shadows stretching out to touch the corners of the ceiling. We feel the weight of the day lifting, replaced by a profound and total sense of calm. Our eyes grow weighted, the rhythmic pulse of the distant sea acting as a lullaby for the soul. The boundaries of the room seem to expand, merging with the vastness of the night and the stillness of the harbor. We are no longer travelers, but a part of the peace that blankets this land. As the final light fades, we drift into a sleep that is as deep and restorative as the ocean itself. The world outside continues its slow celestial dance, but here, in the heart of the home port, all is still. We are safe, we are home, and the journey is complete. Thank you for resting here a while. Until next time on the Drowsy Dragon, sleep well.